Chicago police commanders say they are battling a problem that's bigger than the mob.
They say street gangs here are much more violent than organized crime, including the Capone era.
Tonight, in the first of a two-part series, WGN News looks at the citywide gang problem by focusing on one neighborhood, the hard-working community of Pilsen.
WGN's Julian Cruz got special access to the Tactical Police Gang Unit in the 12th District, and he's here to tell us what it's like to ride along with these elite cops. Julian.
Allison, Superintendent Phil Klein tells me when you look at the big picture, there's no comparison. Traditional organized crime accounted for about 1,000 killings over an 80-year period, while street gangs just in the last 5 years are blamed for 1,300 murders. Though new police tactics are credited with bringing homicide numbers down, gangs continue to terrorize people across Chicago in neighborhoods like Pilsen. It's a battle as old as Chicago, police versus organized crime. But the city's top cop says there's a newer, more murderous breed of criminal on the radar screen. According to crime stats, gangbangers are killing people faster than the mob ever did, bringing darkness and suffering to innocent families and rival gang members. The body count includes police officers, the first line of defense against the gangs, which is why Superintendent Phil Klein is using new strategies across the city to keep the gangs off balance. Like deploying 1,000 cops in the largest reverse sting operation in U.S. history, putting desk supervisors out on the street, and forming a high-tech gang intelligence unit, all designed to preempt gang violence before it happens. So far, at least, in Pilsen, homicide numbers are down. The boots on the ground in the struggle to keep the peace are Chicago's tactical officers, gang unit specialists like 8-year veteran Danny Nunez and his partner Lou Garza. Nunez knows the streets, having grown up in the tough back-of-the-yards neighborhood, another area struggling with gangs. Garza, from the southwest side, knows the turf as well. The two use their street smarts to stay on top of known gang members across Pilsen. Their experience and training has taught them to spot signs you and I won't notice.
You pick up on the gym shoes hanging from the electrical lines. A lot of times that just goes to show that that's a narcotic spot. That's where they're selling.
Look across the street and you see another pair, and on the next block, another. TAC officers say it's a telltale sign of the gang problem that's plagued the hard-working immigrant families of Pilsen.
All right, let's try it again. Who was it that ran?
Police say gang leaders use children as couriers. There are so many of these underage gang kids in Pilsen, police came up with a nickname for them, shorties.
The little kids on the bikes, those are the ones usually carrying pistols, drugs, and when they get new people, like new kids that move into the neighborhood and stuff like that, they'll have them or scare them and tell them, here, you got to hold this for us.
Back at 12th District headquarters, Garza points to gang territories and boundaries. Even the police superintendent admits that there's a high concentration of rival gangs here, packed into a neighborhood of just 1.5 square miles. To the west are the Satan Disciples. On the other side of Damon, the AMBROSE, which have 3 diminishing but separate factions holding turf across the neighborhood. Next are the Bishops, who until recently had a second group east of the Dan Ryan. Then the Latin Counts, with their rivals, RAZA, on the other side of Blue Island, with the party people confined to a pair of blocks off 18th Street. 7 well-organized street gangs, according to police, but if you count all the factions, 10 individual sections of gang turf spread out across Pilsen, with 1 or 2 less organized splinter groups operating independently at any given time. But some believe the tide is beginning to turn in Pilsen, due in large part to the hard work of tactical gang officers like Dan Nunez and Lou Garza. Thanks to tips from residents, police say the AMBROSE gang is disappearing, and the Bishops are fading as well, locked up or pushed out of Pilsen by aggressive new tactics. But the work isn't over. Gangs continue to be a problem in Pilsen. There are a lot of courageous people, not just police, working to combat the gang problem in Pilsen. And Steve and Allison will introduce you to some of those folks tomorrow night in part 2.
So much more.